afternoon, everyone. Thanks for coming to our presentation. So our presentation will be on teamwork tonight. It's what we've been working this semester on, so we'll give you a brief overview. We kind of split it up against us. So our team, myself, Gina, Mackenzie, Carly, Alexis, and Zach. We've split it up between the 5 of us. We each have a topic that we've covered. So I will be covering what actually is a team. Mackenzie's covering effective communications tonight. Then we have Carly, who's covering effective feedback. Alexis will be talking about appropriate leadership in a team. And then Zach will be on how to give clear objectives and goals. So, guys are so mean. Okay, so what actually a team is. So a team is a group of 2 or more people that work together, and they always have a common goal amongst each other. Many times teams are just formed because one task is too big for one person to handle, so more people makes it easier. Who can be a team? Basically anyone. We're each in a team here in class and school, but your neighborhood or your city or the department you work at work probably have teams amongst yourselves in there. So then the why, like I said before, a lot of times it's because a task is too big to accomplish by yourself. So not only that, but it's a lot easier to look at a project with different eyes. Like a lot of times in school, we're all different majors coming together. It makes it a lot easier to understand something. So on the how of forming a team is the 4 phases: forming, storming, norming, and performing. And then next I will go into each 4 of these and a little more explanation. So the first one is forming. This is kind of where everyone gets together. It was like our first day of class when we got our teams. You meet each other and you kind of set a goal, a basic goal that you want to see. And then everyone still wants to be independent in this stage. It's basically when everyone in class goes, I'd rather do this project by myself, it'd be a lot easier and I'd get it done. But it's basically everyone's sitting on their best behavior because they don't want to upset anyone just yet. So the next stage will be storming. So people start making their opinions about each other in this stage. They also are not afraid to voice their opinions anymore. They were going to point out if someone's trying to avoid their work or if someone's trying to take over a little too much and they think it's not really fair amongst others. And this is where clashes tend to happen a lot. So, you're not getting along. Maybe you're starting to butt heads a little bit, and this is where a lot of teams will get stuck and they never get past this because they can't get past their differences in the group together. So next is norming. This is if you've resolved all those clashes, then you can get into this stage. Even though there's some competition going between everyone, you still can work together because you have that common goal and you want to get your project done. And this is where they say danger comes about, because now you're going to be afraid again to say something because you want that project done. Everyone kind of took their part, so you figure, let's let it go and we can finish out. Like in school, where it's the end of the semester, I'll let it be. So next is performing, which is actually where we are tonight and another group, and everyone's getting ready for. So this is when you've actually taken the next step and you're going to basically finish out your project. Most teams have had the most success. This is where it grows. So everyone kind of knows what they're doing and they're ready to go forward. So then the next thing is actually one phase that I didn't put into the end because it doesn't always happen, which is the morning stage. Not everyone puts this in here. But mostly because sometimes not all groups get along and not all groups break up very quickly. We've been together for 15 weeks, but if you're at a company and you're in your department, if you're in that department for 30 years, you've technically been there for 30 years. So by morning, we're going to break up. If you liked your groups, you might miss your group members, you might miss how you work together. Maybe next time that you get into a group, you're like, wow, I really wish we could work the same way that we did in my recruitment class or whatever. So in conclusion, that was just mostly the basics on what a team is and how it forms together, and hopefully, and that's Dr. Casper's main goal in our class, is to get us to go through all of these stages, and that'll be all. So next up is Mackenzie, who's going to talk on communication for us.
Gina, hang on just a second. Is that a pause? What? Is that still going to go, or is it going to wait?
It's going to keep going.
Okay, can you hit the so I mentioned before writing test questions, so I want everybody to write at least one test question for me for each of the presentations, but as many as you'd like to write if you want. Or you can take notes and think about it and hand them over to me. Question on your last slide, more informational for me. I haven't seen that movie, but do those match maybe the stages?
Well, these are actually emotions, and the whole...
Right, but I see storming on the left, right?
Yeah, so he's, anger, here's sadness, disgust, fear, and happiness.
Oh, I can make those into the stages, right?
Yeah.
So anger, storming, sadness is mourning. What's green again?
Disgust.
She would be forming.
She's a little bit of smart aleck.
Is she?
Oh, yeah.
It's inside out.
It's
You ever
inside
seen
out.
it?
And
It's so
then
cute.
where
It's basically like how your brain, your emotions work together.
Well, of course, yeah. Okay.
Is there a way to do presenter view on that or no?
No, you have to have a laptop. Okay.
Per group or per person?
Sorry?
Per group or per person?
The questions. Test
Per
questions.
person.
Are we like stopping after each one or that just?
It depends. I might stop you right in the middle, Kenzie. What do you think about that?
That's fine. Yeah, honestly.
That's cool. You're gonna have papers.
No, I don't plan on it. I just wanted to make those clarifications. All right, whenever you're ready.
Just hit confirm slide. Okay.
And like it should just go, right?
Yeah, it'll go. Current.
Oh no.
Edit.
I hit current.
It just wasn't current.
Current. That way I don't have to think.
So my topic is communication, and I'll be discussing different things like signals, nonverbal, verbal, written communication, mass communication, group communication, and different things like that. So what is communication? It is a process of information, ideas, thoughts, feelings. Communication can break or make situations, especially when working as a team. You guys all need to like communicate to like get the point across. So communication can occur through speech, signals, writing, behavior, phone, email, blogs, meetings, relations, memos, different things like that. No matter what you do is communication through one each other. So the first half in communication is sender, encoding a message. Sender is the communicator, the person that initiates the conversation. Encoding, this could be symbols, signs, or body gestures. Message, this could be written, oral, or nonverbal gestures that help the response of the receiver through the message. The second half is channel receiver, and decoding. The channel sender who they want to effectively send the message. The receiver is who the message is directly targeted to. And decoding is how the receiver interprets the sender's message. It could be he understood it or she understood it, but I don't know. So people communicate with each other in a number of ways, depending on the message and its context, which is being sent. Whether it is something urgent and needs to be addressed right away, or it's just a small briefing that can wait. So there's different types of communication. This is verbal communication and nonverbal communication. I will discuss the difference between both of them and which one is mostly used. I will also discuss how they can be both beneficial when working as a team. So verbal communication is a form of communication in which the message is transmitted verbally by word of mouth, a piece of writing. So there's also a thing called KISS, which is keep it simple, short and simple. The shorter the better, just to get the point across quick and effectively. You don't want to add extra fluff to something.
I thought KISS makes you stupid.
Yeah, I thought it was that too, but I used it down a little bit. Verbal communication is divided into oral and written communication. Both of these things can be improved by being able to listen and understand by speaking and talking clearly, which can also help the communication skills. Message for both the sender and the receiver. So this includes conversation of face-to-face, over the phone, video, radio, FaceTime, and the internet. It is influenced by pitch, volume, speed, and clarity of speaking. Written, it can be different signs or symbols. This can be transmitted through email, letter, report, or a memo. Written communication is the most common form of being used in business world today. It's easier and faster and much more organized. Nonverbal communication is sending or receiving wordless messages, such as gestures, body language, posture, tone of voice, or facial expressions. It's also about the body language of the speaker. It also can affect whether or not you know the speaker personally. We do this every day with emojis. So small group communication. It's communication within the formal or informal groups. It is group interactions that results in decision-making, problem-solving, and discussion within an organization. This is something that would be used while working as a team. So when's a group communication? It involves a speaker who seeks to inform or persuade or motivate an audience. Like we were doing during these projects, we are all trying to inform you on the importance of teamwork. So mass communication. It is communication with the informal or formal groups. It is a group interaction that results in decision-making, problem-solving, and discussion within an organization. This is something that would be used while working as a team. Barriers of communication. It could be physical, emotional, culture, language, and gender. So physical is not being able to communicate with one another. Emotional can be if you're upset or angry, it can really result in a different outcome. Culture, language. So overcoming these barriers could be brief, be positive, be clear, be a good listener, and always be respectful. You definitely don't want to zone out when you're listening or talking to your boss. You also want to make sure you have a clear message and also adding the extra fluff. Tools of effective communication. So you want to assume the role of the listener, maintain eye contact, and it needs to be right the first time. This is also why written communication is great, because you can always go back and read the email if you don't understand something. Listening, attending, and responding is good because you want to paraphrase, which is beneficial when working an important task. You don't want to active listen and make sure you're responding to one another. Communication, the human communication connection, is the key to personal and career success. And next up is Carly, and she will be doing feedback. Wait for her slide.